Hey everybody, today is June 16th, 2023. I'm Gene, and you're hanging with Uncle. Zane's not with us this week. He's on vacation. Wish him well. Hope he has a very relaxing and enjoyable time away, and come back safely next week, brother, okay? And so now let's get to the meat and potatoes of things. If you have not already, please hit that subscribe button. We're trying to grow our audience. And if you already have hit the subscribe button, please hit that thumbs up, that like button. It really helps to grow our channel. And also click that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever we go live and put out new content. And now I want to get started to it. It's an honor and a privilege for me 2 years in a row to say happy Juneteenth. It's our national holiday, so I hope everyone out there is enjoying themselves and having a safe and peaceful holiday weekend. Enjoy yourself. And because Juneteenth is a relatively new holiday, this is only the second year it's been a holiday, I kind of just want to remind everybody why it's a holiday in the first place, okay? So, remember when this country was founded, our founding fathers did not found this country on Christian beliefs and faiths, right? Because all of them owned slaves. And if you read the book of Exodus, you'll know how God felt about slavery, which is why he sent Moses to free his people out of slavery from Egypt. So if you think that our founding beliefs were founded in Christianity, then you don't know the book you profess to love so much, okay? Because remember, this country was founded on the freedom from Christian or freedom of Christianity, whichever you choose. Government would not get involved, and it would never be government's position to decide any type of faith belief system in this country. We have the freedom to do that ourselves. Government should stay out of it. And so that's another thing we'll talk about later about, misinformation. But President Lincoln freed the slaves with the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, June of 1863. But the Union Army, which again is still run by white men because black men had no rights any white man was bound to respect. 2 years later, finally, the cavalry came through in Texas and freed the remaining slaves being held against their will and illegally. And Jubilee Day, or now Juneteenth, is what we celebrate to really celebrate the freedom of those people that were being held captive against their will. So happy Juneteenth, everybody. So now I want to jump into misinformation, because we have a lot of things going on, and in about 18 months, give or take, we're going to be back in the polls voting for balance of power in the House and Senate and the White House. And I just kind of want to, debunk those myths that I hear every time. And this is why being educated is so important, because the more you know, the less likely somebody is to pull the wool over your eyes. Now, they might call that, this four-letter word that starts with W, And in my opinion, I guess I am, because I am aware and conscious of what's going on, and I will not be stupid and let you pull the wool over my eyes when I know better, okay? Now, remember, when I start talking about these things, debunking this BS that I always hear coming from the right, especially during the election cycle, I am not a Democrat. I am not a Republican. I am not an independent. I am registered to vote, no party preference, because I could give a damn about any party. I don't think with the herd mentality. I'm not a sheep. I don't go this way because Democrats say go this way. Or I don't go this way because Republicans say go this way. I think for myself. I look at the issues. How do they align with the social improvement? And that is where I decide how I cast my vote. Okay? So it's not about a party. It's about a candidate. And do they align themselves more with that kind of belief system? Okay? So the biggest one to me, and we've talked about it before, and I've heard this nonsense on Fox so many times I just want to throw a brick at my TV. That if you elect Democrats, you're going to bring a socialist government into this country. And that is one of the biggest lies that I hear put out on right-wing media. Number one, socialism is not a government, it's an economic system. And I'm going to paraphrase, but it's defined as government setting the value of goods and services and the distribution of, those goods. And I invest. I have an E-Trade account. I don't want government putting a value on those. I would rather let the free market do their thing. Let the law of supply and demand do its thing. I don't know of any Democrat that wants a socialist economic system for that reason, because I know a lot of people that invest either through their 401ks or IRAs or deferred comp. Nobody wants the government putting the value of your investment. Nobody does. So stop lying to the people, right-wing media, about how Democrats are going to bring a socialist government into the United States if that's what you elect. Don't be Chicken Little and believe the sky is falling. They're lying to you. And that's why, if you notice, Cadet Bone Spurs, he said in his campaign back in 2015, he likes the uneducated voter. They like the voter they can lie to, pull the wool over their eyes, and get to follow them blindly. And then you get things that lead to January 6th as a result of that. So don't pick your political affiliation like you pick your sports team, or like this is your herd. And I'll kind of give you this analogy, right? I'm a Giants fan, right? I followed Barry Bonds, cheered him on, wanted to see him do well, was happy when he broke the single season record and the total home run record in Major League Baseball. But the court of public opinion is keeping him out of the Hall of Fame because of these steroid accusations. Now, my personal opinion, if you have an accusation of something that is illegal, bring it in criminal court. That is the place to decide that. Let a jury decide if your actions constitute something illegal. But because you want to hear it, put out on ESPN or whatever, and say if you're a Dodger fan, you're going to hate Barry Bonds. So yeah, he used steroids, even though he's never been proven guilty in a court of law. You're going to let the court of public opinion influence your thought process. And we're all supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. And Barry Bonds has never been found guilty in a court of law, whether it be civil or criminal. So again, look at it from that point of view. Look at life like you're a juror on what the law is instead of going with what your team says, okay? I think Barry deserves to be in the Hall of Fame until you can prove in court he did something wrong. Then I'll change my opinion, all right? And that's that's how I look at that, and that's the analogy I kind of give. Something else that I hear a lot of now is because Cadet Bone Spurs is now under a couple of indictments, one in the state of New York and one federally, that these are politically motivated. And again, this is right-wing media putting out these lies and this nonsense and misinformation. Number one, the grand jury process is secretive. There is a judge in the grand jury room overseeing the grand jury process. That judge determines what is and is not admissible. If any laws are being broken, let's just say, for lack of any better description. And we have no idea who the grand jurors are unless they want to come out publicly and say, hey, I'm a grand juror. I've only known one person to do that. And it's very uncommon, very rare if it does happen. All right. So to hear Democrats are prosecuting Donald Trump, no, they're not. A grand jury is. And because a grand jury is secret, we don't know if it's men, women, their age, their ethnicity, their political affiliation, if they have any at all. We know nothing about the grand jury and those people that look at the evidence and decide, yes, there's enough here to bring a criminal charge. So that's what happened in New York, and that's what happened in the Southern District of Florida. Evidence was presented to the grand jury. The judge overseeing the grand jury allowed the grand jury to come up with the conclusions they made, and the grand jury decided to indict. That is what happened. It's not Joe Biden. It's not Joe Biden's DOJ. It's the grand jury that has brought indictments against Cadet Bone Spurs and why he will be held accountable. And it's a grand jury in the state of Georgia where he made the phone call about find me the votes. And it will be a grand jury in DC when they decide if or not to bring charges relating to the riot and insurrection on January the 6th. So that is who decides to bring charges. That is our legal process. It is not political. It is based on facts and evidence. And if a grand jury decided, no, you don't have enough, then guess what? The grand jury says no. Okay, and you don't get to bring charges. But a grand jury, they're just regular people like you and me, and they objectively look at facts presented, not allegations, but facts. They're presented with phone records and audio logs and video logs and everything imaginable. So, I'm trying not to beat a dead horse here, but it's not Democrats, and this is not being done because they think it's going to benefit anybody, because the grand jury does not bring charges because they think it's going to benefit a political party or a political candidate. So, that's the benefit of taking civics and understanding how government works. You understand when you're being lied to, like what Fox News does, and One American News and Newsmax and all those other right-wing nut job media outlets that are putting out these lies and misinformation. Sorry, that's just the way it works. Okay, that's our legal system. And when you understand that and you comprehend that and you work within those guidelines, you'll come to have an actual reality of what's going on in the world instead of the BS that's being fed to you on right-wing media. Okay, so that's what I have to say about that. And one other really big piece of misinformation that gets me is how people don't want to work. Okay. I don't know of anybody that would rather sit home and do nothing and just get money and feel good about themselves. Everybody wants to work. I'm retired, but during 90% of my working adult life, I worked 2 jobs. I had a family to support. I didn't collect government assistance or get food stamps. I went out and I got another job. And that was something that was instilled in me by my father, who was as Democrat as you could come. So the fact that to say that people just don't want to work, they're lazy, they don't want our jobs, that's just a lie. I feel good about myself now that I'm retired. My body hurts, but I worked my whole life, and my kids never missed a meal. So, nobody's being told to stay home, don't work, put your hand out, get something for free. What people are tired of is being abused, being made to feel like a slave on the plantation of capitalism. Work for me, work hard. If you want to get ahead in life, work hard. Well, what happens when you work hard? All right, you produce more. The company makes more money. How much do you get? Your hourly wage. Those profits, those profit margins that you work so hard to make sure got produced, guess where they go? So that argument about work hard, work harder, and you'll succeed, bullshit. You're only achieving somebody else's dreams. And the more you make them, the happier they are with you. But guess what? They're not putting any more money in your pocket than they absolutely have to. So that's what people are tired of. And I support that 100%, So again, don't believe the BS that people just don't want to work. That is not true at all. All right. So I'm going to cut it short tonight and close with my dumbass of the week. Okay. And my dumbass of the week, again, is going to be a collective one. Because there are people out there again, that think Cadet Bone Spurs is being done wrong and he's a victim. And I hear, yeah, what about? Remember, yeah, what about is only a tactic used to deflect from the issue at hand. So we're looking at Cadet Bone Spurs and the trouble he's in with Mar-a-Lago, okay, and the trouble he's in New York, okay. Whose fault is that? You know, he's doing this to himself, and he's not a victim. When he says they're not coming for him, they're coming for you. No, they've been coming for us forever. So to say they're not coming for us, you know, I'm sorry, but I worked in law enforcement. I know how the game is played, and I promise you, Cadet Bone Spurs was never around to stand in the way of any law enforcement activity that I was ever involved in. So, you know, stop lying, dude. You're toast. You're going down. It's about time. And honestly, I wish the media would just stop talking about him, because he's going to be a convicted felon, ineligible to run for president, and better start paying attention to the rest of the field, because that's where the real news is going to be. All right? So don't be a dumbass. Don't follow the herd off the cliff like the January 6th dumbasses did. And think for yourself, you know. Take a civics class. Understand how your government works, so you'll know that Joe Biden is not pulling the strings on any of these indictments that are coming down on Cadet Bone Spurs, because Biden doesn't put grand juries together. Biden doesn't tell grand juries how to decide their cases. Think, come on, people, think. This is not political. This is criminal. This is accountability. And think. That's all I can say. Think. Cogitare. Anyway, be safe out there. Zane and I will see you next Friday. Be kind to one another. Take care of yourself. And see you next